Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer number 1001-H-606 single acting hold open clamp type or flange clamp type spring hinge. This is a very specific sort of spring hinge that you're going to use in a very specific situation really only. This is going to be intended for use in a lavatory application where you have a jamb and a door that you're literally going to install the clamps over. Okay, I've got my hand holding the assembly together because the outside flange parts are removable. Both of them are like that. And as a result, you can see why it is so crucial for us to know the thickness of the jamb and the door, because these clamps are specifically made for that sort of installation. Okay. Now, the 1001 is a double clamp type spring hinge. The -H refers to the fact that this is a hold open version, and that means, and we'll get to it in a moment, that when the tension is set on the spring hinge, it will always be in this sort of orientation, where the door will always be open until it's pushed, closed, and latched. Okay? The 606 is a reference to two things. It first of all means that the base material of the hinge is brass, and that that brass has a satin finish on it. Okay? Now, where you're going to use this sort of application, or this hinge, and I've seen these in use, high-end hotels are going to have this in the common area restrooms, let's say in the lobby area. You're going to have, here's an example, custom mahogany doors, mahogany jambs, material that, while it's been manufactured to be like toilet partition hardware, is certainly custom woodwork, is what it is. And that is a precise application where you'll see this. Law libraries, I've seen these of universities as well. The H is again going to give you the hold open feature. If you were to drop the H, that means that it will always be in the closed position. Okay, so the door is always closed. You push it open, and it will close behind you, and then you'll latch it. This is the opposite. It's always open until you push it closed and latch it, and then it will open again. It's merely a question of preference or of application, what you and your end client are looking for. You can get this material. It's all manufactured, the clamp type. These are always made to order. Available for doors and jambs from 7/8 to 1 3/4. Keep that in mind. This was specifically made for an 1 1/4 jamb. That's what where these are going for the client. And let's get our link below this video. Let's get our link below this video open to the template. And the template shows everything important dimensionally about this hinge. So I'm not going to beleaguer all the points here now, but just to show that the leaf height is 4 inch. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what you're dealing with. All the other dimensions you can pull off the template, so I won't go over any of those. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. All the locations for the screw holes are located where those are for the holes, etc., the 2 holes. Now, there's a link also below here to the installation instructions, and that is going to show the business end of how these hinges work. All right. So what they are doing here is these installation instructions are actually for both models, the 1000 and the 1001H, and that's where they're calling it with the reverse spring hinge. So installation is you're going to release the tension. When this hinge came, the pin is already inserted and the tension rod is included, and I've removed the spring tension because I wanted to be able to actually show you the hinge without having to force it flat and open. So when you install this hinge, when you install the hinge pin, you have to know which model you're dealing with, either the standard 1001 or the 1000H, because how you set the tension changes is the bottom line. So these are what are being referred to as the reverse, because it's a hold open, and indeed it is. Installation and setting of the tension is as follows. Tension collar is pointed towards the top, and when it is, you insert the tension rod into one of these holes, and you turn it counterclockwise. And as you turn it counterclockwise, what you end up revealing are new additional holes over here. And it's into one of those new holes that you'll insert the tension pin. And I'm going to do that here on my desktop. Okay. So in order to resume going over the way to set the tension on the spring hinge, I've placed it back into its original tension. And let's go over that now. It's crucial that it is done correctly. So link below this video to the installation instructions. They're the same ones that you will get when you receive your hinge. First and foremost, it is crucial to make a mental note of where the pin is located when you receive it. Okay, it's crucial so that when you go to reset the hinge or to set the tension again, you know exactly where it came from. And as far as I'm concerned, I would absolutely mark, or know where it came out of. It could be a challenge to place it back the way that it was if you have forgotten, because you're not sure which way to set the tension, clockwise, counterclockwise. Does it go here? Does it go here? Does it go here or here? So in this case, it is on the inside of the barrel, okay, on the side with the web on it, which is indeed shown where it is on the installation instructions. So you've made a mental note of that, and you can then take the tension, loosen it, at least get it pulled out and positioned. You'll need to do that so that you can disassemble the hinge so that you're not having to fight it all the time. You'll need to disassemble the hinge so that you can get it installed. Once you've got it installed, okay, per the installation instructions, it would be helpful to go through all of it, even though this is indeed the reverse acting hinge. But let's go through it all now. So it states, first, release the spring tension by removing the loose pin, and that is indeed the loose pin. Use the tension lever packaged with it, or called the tension rod. Note the position of the loose pin. Make a mental note of where it's located. Fit the clamps to the stile and the door. The centers of the hinges must be axially plumb. The vertical axis of pivoting of the hinges must be plumb, so that when you have your hinges attached, the vertical axis of pivoting is completely plumb, axially. After the hinges are fastened to the stile and to the door, place the door in the closed position. Insert, now this is where, if you were doing a standard hinge, you would place the door in the closed position. Insert tension lever into loose knob, turn loose knob clockwise 2 holes, and insert the loose pin into the loose knob so that the loose pin releases against the front edge of the clamp flange. All right, now, for our application with a reverse spring, installation procedure is the same as above. Tension is applied by turning the loose knob counterclockwise. Loose pin will press against the rear edge of the clamp flange. And that is where we're getting this from, the rear edge of the clamp flange. So in your installation, because it's a reverse, you will get your installation done. You're going to open your door, okay, and then from the open position is where you will set the tension. So when your door is in the open position, you're simply going to turn that, and I'm turning it clockwise, but only because I had it upside down. So otherwise, okay, I'd be turning it counterclockwise, which is indeed the direction in which it's shown. So tension collar pointed up, door is in the open position. You can then insert your tension rod, turn it counterclockwise as the installation instructions indicate, and then set your pin into that next hole. So if I were to change my tension, going over this again, just so that I'm not confused as well, turning it counterclockwise, I realize it looks opposite to you, but if I move the pin from here to here, it would give me a greater amount of tension. Okay? And it's loose like that because it's only set on the first hole. But your proper action, as you can see here, it's under tension now. And that's how the door is going to open itself. Okay? Regardless. Non-handed can be used either way. But keep in mind that the orientation of the hinge and the orientation of counterclockwise needs to be compatible with what it is that you're looking at. Now, if you have any questions on the setting of that tension, please do feel free to reach out to us. No problem with that. So the other crucial reason to know the thickness of the jamb and the door is because you'll be sent sex bolts. You're going to be sent threaded bolts, 2 versions of the cap bolts. You can see that they're a security one-way sort of installation, and you'll get them for each side with the threaded rod between them, and that's how you'll go about doing your installation, right through the door. Okay. I've got the tension set higher now. I just kicked it over a couple of holes, and the way that the hinge will arrive to you is with a plastic. It's want to be careful of those springs. They're tight. Shoved in there so that the material finish is preserved. Okay. Then of course it'll all come in a bag. Now, you know what, before I stick it in the bag, the last thing I'd like to point out to you, first of all, if you have any questions on this or any other Bommer hinge product, the last thing I'd like to point out to you is the Bommer logo. Right above it, it says Made in USA, a fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to represent them. If you have any questions on the Bommer 1001-H-606 clamp style, reverse action or hold open type spring hinge for lavatory doors, or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us.